Hi everyone. This is intimate. I like it. So thank you all for coming today. And I hope I'm able to impart some valuable information to you all that you can take back and think over and take to your own organizations and make a good impact. So what I'm going to be talking about today is unlocking AI-driven success. So what really we want to start out thinking about before anything else is AI readiness of our organizations. So if you notice, readiness really follows along a kind of scale. So, early stage companies that really aren't doing anything at all with AI, but they're starting to think about it, they're really in stage 1, AI skepticism. So they think, there's something valuable there, but they don't really sure, they're kind of exploring. So for these types of companies, the best kinds of projects are going to be more like off the shelf, that they buy directly from a vendor that handles, is completely contained. Then companies that, want to start moving ahead, they might start and say, well, let's really build something that for us, in the AI realm. So a lot of times this is kind of the proof of concept stage. So a lot of times they might still be working with a vendor and their in-house teams together to do that. And then you'll get to more experimentation where you actually have like small scale deployments. So it might be contained to a specific department or a specific function. And again, you may be working with vendors still, but you also may be starting to build out your internal capabilities and teams at this point. So this is kind of the bread and butter of the discussion today, as I'm going to be talking about, learning about it so we can get up here. So then in stage 4, as you start scaling, you have more large scale deployments, you have AI systems that are integrated with multiple departments, multiple internal applications. And then finally, of course, AI maturity is where it's really become an operational norm. Like AI is just embedded in, part of your operations, and this is just accepted, normal, day-to-day processing. So think maybe like in Amazon is a bit of a big case because AI is very heavy in their industry, but even they get the idea. So if you think, well, let's just wait and see. There are risks, obviously, with delaying adoption. The world is headed to AI, just like every company now is, I think this was a wild idea when it was first said, but every company is an IT company. Because every company is an accounting company, every company is a legal company, because every company needs legal, accounting, IT. Soon, almost every company will also be an AI company. So you don't want to get left behind. You're going to widen that competitive gap between you and your competitors, and they're going to, if you're not taking those steps to move forward, they're going to win, and you'll get left behind. And you'll have a steep learning curve to try and catch up, missing opportunities and maybe becoming obsolete. So how do we get started? Well, the prerequisites to successful AI adoption really come down to 3 core tenets. And this is all along the scale. You have skills, culture, and resources. If you have the resources, but you don't have the skills, you're going to fail. If you have the resources and the skills, but you don't have the culture that sets them up to succeed, you're going to fail. So, as you'll see, this is kind of progressive. So I'm going to really focus on the kind of earlier stages. And so this is really more about kind of getting to know what AI is and what it can do for your company at more of the leadership level. So, on that skills area, we're going to talk about understanding of AI by functional leaders. So for some of you, this may be like, well, of course, but you would be surprised that a lot of people are still really struggling to understand what AI is, what it can do, what it can't do, and what's appropriate. So we're going to talk about some of these things. What can AI do? How are AI projects different from IT projects? They are not the same. Just because you have technology staff and technology staff, they are definitely different animals. And a little bit about how AI works. All right, so what kinds of problems can machine learning handle? So this is one I actually run into quite a bit when we're doing work with clients, is they come to me with something that I have to tell them, You don't need AI for that. That's a rules-based system. It's going to be much cheaper and easier to manage. Thank you, but I'm not going to be able to help you with that. So, a couple of things to ask yourself when you're thinking about the problems that arise in your business. You know, like I need to increase my revenue, or I've got this risk because of this situation that keeps happening. Is your problem complex? Okay, AI is really more appropriate for problems that are too complex for a human or a simple rules-based solution. Do you have rich data? Because it's going to take a lot of rich, robust data to train an AI system appropriately. Or if you don't have that data, can you get it easily enough? What is your acceptable error tolerance? So I find this is a huge misconception. People think, oh, I'm just gonna create an AI and it's gonna completely automate it and I can fire half my staff. No, not usually. And they don't understand that AI is probabilistic in nature, so it's gonna give you a probability. I believe this is Mohammed Arshad. I'm 98% sure, but what if it's not Mohammed Arshad? And Mohammed Arshad goes to jail because AI said, I'm 98% sure this is Mohammed Arshad. So, you need to understand that it is probabilistic. It is not yes and no, 1 and 2, like traditional IT systems. So you have to understand your acceptable error tolerance and how to, that doesn't mean you can't use AI. A lot of times, AI still may be appropriate, but it needs to be taken into consideration. Also, does your problem involve image or audio? A lot of traditional systems don't handle that. AI, I think, is amazingly does. All right, IT projects versus AI projects. As you all are, I'm sure, aware, IT projects are generally well-defined processes, predictable outcomes, follow established procedures, and based on deterministic logic. Whereas AI projects, or I like to think of them, R&D projects, exploratory, data-driven, iterative experimentation, probabilistic models and algorithms based on patterns and trends within data. So here's where we also run into a lot of misconceptions about AI when we're talking to business leaders. Strategic value, short-term, critical. AI project, we need to think long-term. Cost, it's going to be a little bit more with an AI project. However, you need to balance that with the value that you get out of it. Time to deliverable, with an AI project, that's easy to predict. With an AI project, it may be a more difficult to predict. Server infrastructure, this is also sometimes news to people. Traditional IT runs on CPUs, AI is going to need GPUs or TPUs, and those tend to be a bit more expensive. Data requirements, also specific and minimal. AI, you're going to need data, a lot of it, and hopefully it's really good. Data storage, also, your databases that you use with AI are going to be a bit different. With data storage or traditional IT projects, it can be slow and less flexible. You can do batch processing overnight. With AI, it's going to be dynamic and quick. So, let's talk about the AI deployment lifecycle. So you'll see, it kind of looks pretty similar to an IT project, right? You start out with your requirements and you end with monitoring and maintenance. The big difference here is going to be in this fun middle section when you get to data collection and preparation, which, by the way, could take several months just on that stage. Then you have model selection and training, also model development. Then when you get here, you're kind of at the POC stage. Model evaluation and validation. You see here, we start going back through. And we could actually cycle in this area for quite a few iterations before we really get it right. And sometimes things will die here at this stage and won't progress on. But if we're lucky, we find something, we get it working, and then we get to deploy it. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about, back to that original diagram of skills, culture, and resources, we have culture. So as a business leader, it's up to you to set the tone of the culture of your organization. And success in AI, culture is a big part of that. So we're going to talk about some common AI challenges, overcoming those challenges, and talk about the true ROI of AI projects. All right, so some of the common challenges in AI projects. So you can see there are quite a few pitfalls that you just need to be aware of. And if you have the right foundation, you'll be able to get through these. But data sets, as I kind of touched on before, if you have insufficient, imbalanced, or poor quality data, that's going to trip you up. Algorithms. So what we talked about in the life cycle, model type selection. And then when you're doing model development, you could overfitting or underfitting. Hardware and software, as we talked about, your hardware and software requirements are a bit different, so you need to make sure you're doing the right things there. Then we have data management, so you have security, privacy, access, ownership concerns, project management. As I mentioned, AI works a bit different, so you need to understand that you have those communication gaps covered and that you don't have unrealistic expectations. Talent pool. Obviously, AI is still, in the large market, still very new. So there's a lot of great AI talent out there, but it's also very competitive to get those people. But overcoming these challenges, excuse me. So we have a mix of technical and organizational solutions. So if you have the right technical resources, and if you don't, I would suggest go out and hire somebody, get some help, get that expert to come in and just say, have a look at this. So some of the things you can do are data augmentation. So you really need somebody well-versed in the technical side of things to help you with this. Same with regularization. So I won't go into what that is. If you know, you know. If you don't, you're probably more business than tech. Transfer learning. So this is what we talked about, using an existing algorithm as a starting point. Again, if you have skilled tech talent, they'll be able to do this for you efficiently. Organizational solutions, and this goes back to creating the right culture. Clear communication channels, culture of collaboration. So you not only need to communicate, but you need to collaborate. Collaborate across departments, collaborate with external vendors. When you need help, don't be afraid to say, I need some help. I need someone else to look at this and make sure I'm doing it right. And continuous learning. So I'm going to talk a bit more about that on the next slide, which is looking at ROI for AI is not just traditional measurable ROI. AI, you really have to think about it in terms of this ROI trinity. You have measurable, which we're all familiar with, reduce costs, increase revenue. We also have strategic. So how does this align with my long-term goals? How is this going to make me more competitive, with other firms? How is this going to reduce my risk, enhance my client experience? Just kind of things like that. So you really should be, capturing these types of things and reporting on them as well when you're going through this maturity process. That way everybody's on board, that they are getting value for what you're doing. But another big one that's overlooked is this capability ROI. So as you go through these, and you start off with an off-the-shelf product, or a POC, or a small-scale deployment, every time you're building your knowledge, you're building your capabilities, and you're building your maturity. And so all of that, while it doesn't translate on the balance sheet, it does build over time, and it is crucial, and it is a differentiator. So I just urge you all to take control of your AI journey, and if you do need some help, FalconsAI is more than happy to help you. We do AI readiness assessments. We also offer customized consulting services. We'll even do AI due diligence. So say you hired a vendor firm to build a solution for you, but you're not completely sure that they're on the up and up, and you want a third party to come in and give you an honest evaluation, we can help you with that as well. In addition, in some cases, we'll build some custom AI solutions. All right, so now I think hand it over to Lori at Sizzby.